My name is Lauren Farnoosh. I am the founder of 38 Consulting. Let me just present this. Okay. So again, thank you to Manhattan Chamber of Commerce, Harry Chen, Jessica Walker, um, Maggie and Nadia. Today we're going to be discussing the opportunities for expansion and foreign capital investment in the GCC, specifically UAE. But before we begin, I just, again, happy to introduce myself. A quick bit about me. I am originally born and raised in California, and I lived in New York for about 6 years, just under 7. So I just missed the stamp of being a true New Yorker, but it's okay. I will live. I now live in Dubai. And I bring with me over 10 years of work experience in retail, real estate, retail, and fashion industries across both the US and the UAE. As Nadia mentioned, I was also a participant and a mentor as a lead mentor and program contributor for the Manhattan Chamber of Commerce's Retail Storefront Accelerator. So I mentored several business owners and also led some webinars and info sessions for them as well. I participated last year and am also participating again this year. In addition to my own business, I'm also a member of the Dubai Businesswomen's Council, which is under the umbrella of the Dubai Chamber of Commerce, and a few other women's professional organizations such as womenschoice.org, which is focused on women's career development and advancement over here in the Middle East and North Africa, and also Monday Girl, which is similar but in North America. I have specializations in omni-channel retail strategy from University of Pennsylvania and business strategy from University of Virginia. And my goal here today is really to create a bridge for American businesses to seamlessly expand internationally and gain access to foreign capital. So here's going to be our agenda today. First, I'm just going to kind of introduce why I think Dubai is an amazing market for businesses in the US and specifically New York City to enter into and expand. So I'll give some background about that. Then I'll share just a few success stories of brands that have successfully expanded here, and then a general process top line view of how we can make this happen. And then last but certainly not least is the what is beyond Dubai, and seeing Dubai as just the first step in your international expansion journey. So why Dubai? Well, first off, American brands and concepts, they are highly successful, and Middle Easterners are, in fact, obsessed with everything that is American. Two examples that I'll give really quickly that have done phenomenally well are Chipotle and In-N-Out. And yes, these two brands, okay, they do amazing anywhere they go. Everybody wants to try them, but like for example, Chipotle opened really close to where I currently live, and for the first few weeks, you couldn't get within like a half-mile radius because the traffic was so bad. Lines were out the door, around the block, so on and so forth. And In-N-Out did a activation for 12 hours. And leading up to the activation, people were sleeping in lines overnight just to be the first to get it. What was supposed to be a 12-hour activation only lasted 3 hours before they were completely sold out. And you can imagine the viral TikToks and Instagram reels that followed. Also, it's good to note that out of the top 20 food and beverage chains that are here, 70% of them are American. A large part of the success is due to Dubai's ambition to really become the next New York City. And actually, quite literally, is the New York City of the East. It is a regional business hub uh, here in the Middle East and North Africa. And we're actually seeing many SMEs and large multinational corporations relocating their headquarters from countries in Europe and the rest of the Middle East and North Africa. Um, I think another thing that really contributes to the success of why so many brands are doing so well here is um, Dubai is has an incredibly diversified culture that I think um, I was a little surprised to see at first. And in fact, it's the 10th most diverse city globally, right after Los Angeles. And it's funny because I think in the US, you don't typically, it's a little rude to ask people where they're from. I think some people find that a little bit of a sensitive question. But in Dubai, because 90% of everyone that lives here are expats, you do tend to ask people right after you learn their name, okay, where are you from? And it's very different. So very international culture. Here are just like some quick top line facts about Dubai. It is in fact actually the third most visited city in the world. So tourists from all over come here to indulge themselves in the luxury lifestyle that you see on social media and TV. And last year alone, almost 19 million tourists spent $195 billion, which contributes to, the UAE being the 25th country globally in terms of GDP per capita. Um, and due to, the luxury lifestyle, also there being no income tax, it really attracts a lot of high net worth and high earning individuals. And just I think people really are attracted to the convenience of the lifestyle. So w- there is a massive influx of people moving here. In fact, there's 150 to 200,000 new residents moving to Dubai and Abu Dhabi each year. So you can imagine just the massive expansion that is going on everywhere that you look. And then we'll also talk more as we continue about the mall and also the heavy reliance on the delivery service culture here. Pretty much anything and anything you want delivered to your door, you can have in 9 to 15 minutes here, which I'm really enjoying as being a resident here. So the UAE is an incredibly ambitious country to say the least. And 30 years ago, there really was hardly anything here, and now it's really transformed into a country that is setting the pace for the future and inspiring and being a trendsetter for the rest of the GCC and the Middle East. And in 2023, they launched an initiative called the D33, which is Dubai's forward-looking initiative and aspiration for the future. It's 100 plus innovative projects that aim to raise $7 trillion in foreign trade and to establish partnerships with 400 global cities, many of which are in the US. So from real estate, finance, tourism and hospitality, technology and innovation, healthcare and life science, and all of this is with the aim to double the population to 6 to 7 million by 2040. So with all this, immense growth, people need somewhere to shop, and the malls here they're not just simply malls, they are really lifestyle centers. And I'm sure most, if not everyone, has heard of Dubai Mall. It's, I thought originally that it was the largest mall in the world, but turns out it's actually the second, only the second. The largest is actually in Iran. But I'd rather just go to the Dubai Mall than go to Iran, um, personally. But so there's a massive development in the retail and the malls. So there's currently 30 million square feet in development right now. And these are just a quick snapshot of some of the malls that are currently in the works or in development. Uh, and again, one of the biggest drivers for the UAE's success is that they have a very favorable business environment. This is a capitalist haven, so to speak. So there's very low barriers to entry and inexpensive startup costs. There's tax-friendly policies, very low corporate tax rates. We're talking like 9 to 15%, which are some of the lowest in the world. And then 100% foreign ownership. You do not need an Emirati partner to set up a business here and operate it. And there's no restrictions or profit, no restrictions on profit or capital repatriation. So you are not required to reinvest a certain percentage of whatever revenues you earn here back into the country. Next, we're really going to look at just like a few success stories of some brands that have successfully expanded here and what that looks like. So first is Black Tap Burgers. I think, I know Black Tap Burgers from their locations in Soho, and then I believe they have one in Midtown. They actually have two here in Dubai. One is in the Dubai Mall, beautifully situated right by the Dubai fountains, and with a gorgeous view of the Burj Khalifa, as you see right here. And they have a location in Abu Dhabi and also in Saudi, Qatar, and Bahrain. So they have certainly expanded beyond just the UAE. Next is kind of a funny story about how I found out Magnolia was here. Magnolia is a New York favorite, New York City favorite. And I was here with my partner one evening after dinner, and he said, "Oh, do you want to try the best banana pudding you've ever had?" And like, who am I to turn down banana pudding? So of course I said yes. And as I mentioned, we have the delivery service that comes in roughly 9 to 15 minutes. So in roughly 9 to 15 minutes, the banana pudding showed up at our door, and I saw the Magnolia Bakery logo on the packaging, and I go, "Oh, Magnolia's here! How amazing!" And then he proceeded to tell me how everyone here is in love with it, and everyone orders it and is obsessed with it. And it goes to show in just the number of reviews that they have on one of the delivery services called Talabat here. Alone, there's 15,000 reviews with an average of a 4.5 star rating. And they have 3 locations across Dubai and one in Abu Dhabi. In addition to that, they have 8 in Saudi and 4 in Qatar. Another favorite of mine as a Californian, I was excited to see that Earth Cafe is here. I think this is a great example of something that is a bit more of like a niche concept that has resonated and been wildly successful, not only with tourists and the international expat community, but also with the local Emirati community as well. This photo on the left here, I actually took myself at Thursday at noon last week. I was at the City Walk shopping center, and just happened to walk by and decided to get a boba drink. And they've been awarded with several awards for best caterer, best cafe, and in fact, actually, out of Earth's 31 locations internationally, 14 of them are in the GCC between Saudi and the UAE. Another example is Skims. Yeah, anything Kim Kardashian touches, everyone turns to gold. But I think this is a good example of just how a good example of apparel. They did a string of different successful pop-ups. The first being in the Al Circle Avenue, which is kind of this like industrial Williamsburg sort of Bushwick sort of area that and anyways, they did their Valentine's Day pop-up. They did a pop-up for their men's collection in the Mall of Emirates. And also in 2021, they had their Fendi Skims capsule collection pop-up. And so they just recently announced that they are going to be, Skims will be expanding internationally. And they've just announced that the UK and the UAE are the first stops and will be their first international stores. And so I think that's a good testament of how successful they have been here. Also, berries. I was really excited to find out Berries is here. It's actually in the building right next to where I live. They have a gorgeous, gorgeous and huge storefront. And fitness concepts do exceptionally well here. The the culture here has a huge emphasis on exercise, on a healthy lifestyle. And so pretty much everyone you meet here is a regular at the gym or goes to some sort of fitness studio or plays a sport, so on and so forth. Um, and I wanted to also show you guys just a quick snapshot of like the average consumer journey for the, Dubai resident. When I first moved to Dubai, I was working a job and my manager's name was Harris. And I thought he would be a great example for, seeing what an average person is like here and how they're spending their money. Um, and he, initially moved to Dubai to pursue his career ambitions while enjoying an exciting and comfortable lifestyle in a safe and inclusive environment. And so, Harris works at a large office building that's about 40 stories high. The Dubai is filled with these mega office towers everywhere you look. And so there's the cafes on the ground floor and the local like small lunch restaurants. So if you have you can imagine if you have a cafe there, there's 2,000, 3,000 people working in that office, grabbing a coffee and a croissant before they go up to work. Additionally, if you have a F&B concept, that is great with the lunch crowd, but maybe you don't want to be in an office tower. Maybe you want something in a bit of a more glamorous setting, like the Dubai Mall, for example. You know, if if it's something that resonates well, the delivery services here, about the average person orders in at least like three times or more a week, and so you can do quite well. If you have any kind of entertainment concept, any sort of novel experience concept, people here, they have a lot of disposable income to spend, and they're looking for new ways to spend it. So something like maybe an arcade interactive game room, escape room, something along those lines. do really well here. Also, like I mentioned, uh, fitness studio, gym, paddle courts are hugely popular here. And also, um, anything that really contributes to that luxurious lifestyle that the resident and tourists come here for. So, fine dining experiences, salons, beauty treatments. There's I think like hundreds of beach resorts all throughout the UAE, uh, and beach clubs. And okay, so I've shown you the business-friendly environment here and the high disposable income of the consumer. And I've shown you that others have done it before. And so let's get into what's missing, which is how are we going to make it happen? So there's two models that we can really look at. The first being you kind of do it yourself. Maybe you find an investor, maybe you put up the money, and do the grunt work. But with this, there are many advantages. You get to keep more of the sales revenue. You have more control over your brand and the operations, but there are some cons. The cons being it's a lengthy and complicated process to start and infiltrate the market and set up the business. You'll also lack experience and knowledge of this market, which will be a bit of a learning curve, and it'll require a much higher amount of initial investment and effort. Uh, and so I usually recommend we do model two, which is to franchise your business in the UAE, and using a very experienced, very knowledgeable franchisee or franchise operator in the market. The cons are that there is a much more seamless and faster expansion here. And then also the operators here, they don't just typically operate here in the UAE. They also work and have operations all across the Middle East and North Africa. So it's also an easier entry point into those markets as well. And you also are getting a partner that understands the customer, the market here. So you don't have that learning curve. The cons are that the revenues may not be as high as if you were to do it yourself. And you would more so be receiving the royalties, right? So the first step would be you can call me, email me. We will, set up a call, a talk, so I can learn more about your business, what your current model is, um, what your goals are for your business, and how you may be interested in expanding. Um, Once you are ready to begin the process, we would sign an agreement and then kick off the process of sourcing you the right partner. Um, the Once we find you the right partner, the franchisee or franchise operator will be responsible for doing the majority of the grunt work here across the world while you collect a franchise fee and royalties, and you're still able to focus on operating your business over in the US. Um, so they will be doing, everything from securing the retail space if you require retail space, hiring and training the staff, doing the marketing and promotion, purchasing supplies and equipment, manage the day-to-day operations, and grow your business in and throughout the region. So, as with any good business partnership, both sides need to walk away happy. So, uh, here's, a general outline of what's in it for both parties. You clearly get an additional stream of revenue. Uh, And in addition to that, and expand your global presence that raises the equity of your brand and paves the way for future expansion. You also get access to a new global customer base through the international community and exposure from the tourism. And you can also scale your business in such a way that you are, in fact, maybe now like a wholesale supplier to the franchisee here. So, for example, like, if you are a pizza shop operator and you have this super secret, amazing pizza sauce recipe, you can then start supplying it and selling it to your franchisee here. Um, what do they get? Well, as I mentioned, American brands are a hot commodity, and investors love nothing more than a hot commodity with a proven business model that gives them a lower risk for failure. And also, your brand isn't just anywhere from the US. I think that's really notable to point out. It's from New York City, and has that New York City brand reputation that draws the local interest. They also get, the training and support. And so they're not just learning how to do it on their own. You're going to, they will have you to help them throughout the process of getting set up. So we're almost done with the presentation. I'm going to just leave this slide up for a brief minute. You can scan the QR code and it'll, give you my info, or you can just take a photo of my contact info, whatever is easiest for you. I'm happy to answer your questions after the presentation, or, on a one-on-one call or through an email, whatever works best for you. So next I am going to be talking about, and I think this is kind of one of the most interesting parts, and to keep in mind, is that this is just a first step in your in expanding. So Dubai, I think, is one of the easiest markets to enter into internationally for all the reasons I've already explained. But entering into the UAE and Dubai, it really sets the pace to start expanding into these other great markets. The first being Saudi. Saudi has a very the highest population in the GCC, and also the highest GDP in the region. And you might be asking, okay, so why don't I just go to Saudi first? Well, Saudi has a bit more of a traditional population. It's locals. And so I think, as I mentioned, the UAE and Dubai specifically is really a role model for the rest of the GCC. So when they see something over there, then the rest kind of take note and have interest. So there's really a lot of cachet that comes with having a presence here in the UAE. Next is Qatar, which is, often considered the little sister of the UAE, with a higher income, however, a very slim population. And then also Bahrain is a regular tourist destination for Saudis, as alcohol is legal there and it is not legal in Saudi. So all they need to do is, cross the border and they can have a few drinks over the weekend. And then, some more tactical expansions, maybe Kuwait, Oman, Egypt, Morocco, so on and so forth. So thank you. This is the end of my presentation, or as they say in Arabic, shukran. And I'm happy to take your questions.
Lauren, a special thank you to you. This was phenomenal.
Thank you, Nadia. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon, hopefully. Okay.
Goodbye,
Bye.
everyone. Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.